Dr. Steen's going to be a hard act to follow up, but I'm going to try my very best to provide some really good insights for you guys. Let's go ahead and, there we go. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us here today. And thank you, Kevin, and the Urban work with Fortune 50 companies, helping them uncover emerging trends and enabling them to capitalize on potential growth and innovation opportunities. So after hearing that, you're all probably a little bit curious as to why a software company is presenting at this awesome Food as Medicine conference. Well, Kevin and I, Kevin from UFI and I got to meet actually a few months back, present to you all some findings on what the general public discussion is around food as medicine. That's because that's what we do at Nichefire. We use generative AI technology that we've built to bring to you information on the way people are conversing about specific topics from all across social media, web, search engines, blogs, forums, etc. So to break this down even further, and some of you in the room may be hearing that information and thinking, sounds kind of familiar because there are tools out there that are very specific and referred to as social listening tools. And these tools are essential for monitoring, analyzing, responding to online conversations about a brand, about a competitor, about a product category, across all these various digital platforms. These tools are incredibly effective and valuable if you know what it is specifically that you're looking for. What happens when you want to understand general trends but don't necessarily have a clear direction of keywords that you know that you can implement into a system? Or you want to understand how people in the world are talking about food as medicine, but aren't sure the keywords to focus on. Enter cultural listening and what we're building at Nichefire. And we'll show you what is trending today, what is trending tomorrow about certain topics without having to know exactly what keywords you need to set up and search for. So if you're, I think it's the next one. Yeah, Kevin, thanks. So if you're anything like my mom and my dad, I give them a little bit of crap sometimes. They're sometimes still a little confused as to what I do all day for a living after that explanation. So sorry, Mom and Dad, if you're listening and watching this recap later. I'll buy dinner tomorrow night. But let me give you a more concrete example. So as I mentioned, we work with quite a few Fortune 50 companies. And as you can see, some of the companies we partner with are in the food and beverage space. Lots of these companies rely on Nichefire to help them understand trends around various product categories that they own. So a good example would be we partner with Kraft Heinz. They have topics set up in our tool around trending chicken nugget sauce flavors. We partner with Perfetti Van Mel, which is a local confectionery company actually based in Erlanger, Kentucky. And they have topics set up in our tool around candy flavors, gum flavors, things like that. And then we also partner with Nestlé, is one of our flagship customers as well. And they have topics set up around their product categories, like pizza and coffee, because Nestlé, of course, owns DiGiorno, they own Nescafé. But they also have more general concepts set up within our tool around health and wellness trends. Through their topics set up in Nichefire, Nestlé was able to identify conversations early around GLP-1 drugs before these conversations really became incredibly mainstream. They were able to see conversations about how some users that were on these drugs were really struggling with their diet. They needed meals that were more appropriately portioned. They needed lower calorie meals, but these meals were also needed to be made with ingredients that were not causing them to have an upset stomach, because apparently that's a side effect of these drugs, and their favorite foods they can't eat now because they're on these GLP-1 drugs that are making their stomachs upset. Now let's be real. I'm not Dr. Steen. I have no medical background or the authority to be able to confirm if those claims are accurate or not. I'm just telling you that what people were saying about GLP-1 drugs, Nestlé took that information and ran with it based on these cultural conversations that were happening. So enter Vital Pursuit. Nestlé was the first company to be able to go to market with this new meal line catered to these GLP-1 drug users, because they were aware of what was trending and what people were saying around GLP-1 drug culture. So now, there we go. Thanks, Kevin. So now we are going to get into the actual trend information around food as medicine. And first and foremost, I want to acknowledge that we have, world-renowned physicians, nutritionists, educators, and chefs in this room presenting to you all here today. And all of these individuals may have a different perspective as to what the definition of food as medicine means to them. As a cardiologist, Dr. Rothenberg's definition of food as medicine may be very different than Chef Lakshmi's. I mean, even according to ChatGPT, yes, I briefly cheated. Food as medicine refers to the general concept of using food and nutrition intentionally to promote health, prevent illness, and manage or even reverse chronic diseases. And all of those definitions make total sense. But what are some trends happening when the general public is talking about food as medicine? It may not be as straightforward as you think, and what I'm about to present may either surprise you or confirm some things that you are already aware of when it comes to trends around food as medicine. And what you're actually looking at on this screen is what we refer to at Nichefire is our moments matrix. This matrix basically pinpoints trend clusters on this map, if you will, based on growth and volume, growth patterns and volume. And no, don't worry, I only have about 5 more minutes, so we're not going to go through every single one of these bullet points, just the ones that I particularly found insightful and interesting. So again, food as medicine, what is the general public talking about when it comes to these keywords and terminology? And a couple of interesting trends that popped up were people talking about drugs in their diet. So, or using, say, mushrooms for mental health. How does CBD usage and endocannabinoid usage change the way people eat their food? Sometimes the stigma around endocannabinoids can be skewed negatively, but this trend is actually showing positive sentiment scoring in our dashboard, especially with some people commenting on how endocannabinoids help them gain weight, reduce nausea, even using examples of post-chemotherapy. Endocannabinoids really help them gain some of that weight back. Some other trends that popped up that I thought were interesting were around supplements. It's no secret that, it's flu season. There isn't, I think, one person I know that hasn't struggled with either cold, the flu, COVID, norovirus, so many bad allergies right now because it's 3 degrees outside. Prior to running this analysis, I personally had no clue what echinacea was. But apparently it's an herbal medicine used for supporting immune health. And it's something clearly people are talking about right now because people are searching for natural immune boosters to help remedy cold and flu illnesses. I'm gonna probably go buy echinacea after this conference. In this specific trend though, people are talking about various echinacea teas and how people drink them when they're starting to feel very early onset symptoms of the flu and cold. Some other trends that I thought, thanks Kevin, some other trends I found interesting that appeared among the concept of food as medicine were around consumers talking specifically around various diets. So I found these to be interesting because being Middle Eastern myself, I found the Mediterranean and ketogenic diet trends to be fascinating. I'm very familiar with that diet. My grandfather passed away at the ripe old age of 98 years old because I'm convinced he unintentionally followed that diet his whole life. But I had not heard of many people mentioning the low carb aspect of the Mediterranean diet combined with the high fat approach of the keto diet. So lots of people were citing in this conversation, in this trend, lots of people were citing weight loss as a health benefit of following this specific diet. And then the last couple of trends we'll highlight here that I thought were interesting are not necessarily related to each other, but the first one was around spices being used as a healing agent. So this trend discusses the health benefits of spices, particularly cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves, which are powerful antioxidants with medicinal properties. It also mentions the importance of including high-quality antioxidants in the diet and potential therapeutic effects of spices like turmeric and nutmeg. Again, all news to me. Last but not least, it seems as though when consumers think about the phrase, thanks Kevin. When consumers think about the phrase food is medicine, some people don't always think of us as human beings first. How is what we are feeding our pets impacting them or hurting them? Because that's what a few of the prominent conversations were about. A few people in these clusters were talking about feline health issues as well as ways to naturally enhance the eyesight of their cats via their diet and their food. According to some of the clusters, keep eating carrots and spinach, and cats, I guess, love salmon and sardines, and it helps their eyes get better. Don't quote me on that. Again, just telling you what people are talking about. And so a lot of what I've gone through, I know maybe things the room already knows, but it's interesting to also kind of use this information as confirmatory and to see that this is what's also very top of mind for consumers, again, across social, Google search, Bing search, the web, a lot of those various sources that I had mentioned. And then with that, that is, I think, all the time that I have. I wanted to thank Kevin again for the opportunity to present, go through this information with you. As a local startup, having this platform to showcase the work we're doing is awesome. So thanks, Kevin and team. And if anyone's interested in learning more about any of these trends I walked through, plus all the other trends on that Moments Matrix, we have a booth set up outside. That's a link to our website. Feel free to scan it and reach out to us. But thank you all again, and enjoy the rest of the presentation. Thank you.
You're going to talk to the Nichefire team in the networking portion of the conference. And you'll also have an opportunity to talk to our next group, which is the Next Innovation Scholar students from the University of Cincinnati. So they're going to talk about the way out there trends, and I will hand it over to the NIS students. Here you go.